Sony just released their new FX30 and I want one. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the reasons why I think this camera would be a great replacement for the Z6II. As someone who's been shooting Nikon digital cameras for the past almost 20 years now, I've not had an issue on the photo side. And I said issue, I get to know my cameras, figure out how they work, and go ahead and shoot what I want to shoot. Video, however, has been a bit of a challenge. It's a bit different than photography, but I've been learning my way and figuring things out as I go along. I jumped into video starting with a D500, and while I love that camera, when I wanted to do 4K, there was a crop on it, and I wasn't too excited about that. So when the Z line came out, I decided I needed to jump over there. Two things: full frame, and the fact that the autofocus on this camera for video was supposed to be even better than what we had in the D500. So for me, that was a win. Later on, as I got more comfortable with video, I figured it was time to move on to the Z6II because I planned on doing some traveling and I wanted something that had better autofocus and could actually work well when I'm doing solo shoots. Now, testing this at home, I found out that there were some challenges with the autofocus. It wouldn't always lock on and it would do a bit of hunting. So what I tended to do at home is, use that little box area, put it where my head was because that was marked, control the lights, and everything worked out pretty well. So shooting manual, yeah, things all right. But then when you started to do product videos, you had issues because of course you want to hold something up in front of the camera, get it to focus, and then refocus back on your face. That wasn't always successful with a Nikon camera. So I did what I needed to do to make things work. You shoot your B-roll and then put that in your videos. So there's been some shortcomings that I've been looking to overcome. We've been hearing talk about a Z8 for some time now, but it actually hasn't materialized to date. So I started looking around at other cameras to see which one I wanted to pick up. Always heard Sony had great autofocus, and I saw the A7 IV, I picked it up. It just didn't quite wow me. It was something about my Z6II and the way the grip was and how everything was just comfortable and natural. Menu system, ergonomics were great. And I also saw that the screen on the A7 IV was a little bit smaller. I had just invested in new lens and the Z6II, so it was kind of hard pressed to switch at that point. Since I've been traveling for the past 6 months, I've noticed that I spend more time shooting with my iPhone than I do with my Z6II, and that's mainly videos. Because hand-holding the Z6II doesn't always get the best results. Sometimes I'm lucky and I can get some pretty good things. I have to do multiple shoots to kind of get there. But the iPhone was just smooth. So while Canon, Sony, Fuji, and all the other guys have been releasing cameras, I've been holding out for that Z8. I've been waiting. There's been talk of firmware updates to possibly improve the autofocus, but I still haven't seen that yet. But there's been a talk about a Z6III coming out. The last big rumor said that we should hear something in August. August came and went, nothing happened. September's gone, here we are in the middle of October, and we still have no information on any new Nikon cameras. What did show up though was the Sony FX30, and after seeing those videos, I was pumped for that camera. The FX30 presentation was awesome. I mean, when I watched that thing, I was like, yep, I think I'm gonna go Sony. It wasn't that the Nikons are great cameras, because they are great cameras. I knew it was APS-C because I saw the specifications on it, heard about what it was, and I remember I did think about going with the FX3. Because as I'm doing more video, you get more comfortable with shooting video and you want things that give you more better, well, you want a camera that gives you better video functionality. Autofocus is a challenge, yes, and the FX30 is gonna fix that. Focus pre, then, I do experience that with a couple of my lens. I hear that that's something built into the camera that can manage that on any lens that you're using, albeit at a crop. So let's not forget that that's there. Tally lights. When you're recording, you want to know that things are actually rolling. If you're like me and you've utilized this thing solo for some time, you've probably had some instances where you've been talking for a while and you think that you're recording, only to find out that, yeah, you weren't recording. And that's kind of annoying. That's one of the reasons why I also picked up an external monitor, well, the Atomos recorder, to assist me with seeing what I'm doing and know when I'm recording. So let's talk about the pros of this new camera. It records in 4K 10-bit 422 up to 120 frames per second. Now, 120 frames per second has a crop. Not a major thing for me because I don't do 4K, because I don't do slow motion videos that often. And if I do, you just have to back up a bit, prep for it. Just like with anything else, you'll be fine. The autofocus, way improved compared to, Nikon system. Even the Z9 still had some challenges. Lenses. The lens for the FX3 are smaller. Well, not all of them, but those that you want to use when you walk around and you want to, snap some video, like a vlogger as you're walking around through a city or beach or wherever you're going. It's nice to have something smaller and lighter that you can work with. It draws less attention. You pick it up and just you want to, shoot out there. That's pretty good. The screen, flip out screen, very important thing because that actually helps. And of course, there is like a little red square around the screen to let you know when you're recording. So that's another awesome thing that we're missing on our Z6II. One of the other things that got me excited was the s-cinetone profile. Now, once you get into video and you start shooting, after a while, you decide you want to make things look your own way. So you start to get into color grading. And as you get into color grading, it's tedious work. It adds more time to the edit process. I'm not an expert on video, I'm a content creator doing travel videos, tech, and photography stuff. So yeah, wanting something that can give you high quality pictures straight out of the camera, big plus. And that's something I think everybody wants to get. Less editing time equals more content to you guys. The other thing that just made me decide, you should get this camera is the price. Let's be honest, $17.99, $1,800 for a cinema based camera. That's typically what I'm used to paying for my D300, D500 back in the day. Right at around that price point, $17.99. That's enthusiast level camera. You're getting that from a cinema camera. That is awesome. Anybody tell you otherwise, crazy, especially in today's day and age. Okay, the Z6II starts at $2,000. The A7 IV is about $2,500. So yeah, I think Fuji came out with their XH2 and 2S, and those were up in that $2,500 price range, $2,000 to $2,500. So yeah, having something that's less than that price and is on a Sony Cinema lineup, that's an awesome deal in my book. So that really piqued my interest. But is everything great? No. There's no camera that's perfect. So let's get out of the way first and foremost. Every camera has some shortcomings. And just like the Nikon has its shortcomings, so does the FX30. And let's talk about those for a second. The things that may annoy you, so to speak. It's an APS-C camera, means smaller sensor, but Most cinema cameras are based on the Super 35 sensor, and Super 35 is used in film production today a lot, so you're not lacking anything there. Did they go all the way full hog and making this thing fantastic? No, but for what you get out of it, I mean, it's great. And the price point, yeah. For me, one thing I think about is the electronic viewfinder. Coming from a photography background, you see the world pretty much through this little hole. And that's how you view everything out there. Yeah, I've gotten used to using my iPhone and shooting, full screen and that thing, and it's awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I have posted on a bunch of other YouTubers' websites that talk about photography, video, about getting something like the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras, 5-inch screen on the back of those. But that means rejiggering your camera in such a way that you can support a 5-inch screen. I know there are downsides to going with a bigger screen. Battery is going to take a hit. The brighter you make the screen, and of course the bigger the screen is, the more battery it's going to use. And when you talk about a mirrorless camera, yeah, the screen is what you use a lot. The Sony FX30 having a flip out screen, while I wish I had a bigger screen, I want better battery life when you're recording. So that was also one of those things that you have to deal with. The other thing to keep in mind, that since it is a cinema camera, it's not going to have the same amount of photo features as you would expect from a hybrid camera, because it's not a hybrid camera. So keep that in mind. But as a content creator, a lot of times you want a thumbnail and you're doing a single shot anyway, so you should be fine there. Those are the main cons that I think of when I'm thinking about, upgrading and how it would affect me. So you guys may be the same. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way about it. Are those going to be deal breakers for you, or those things that you think that you can live with? Let me know. Oh, before I forget, there is an annoying thing that I think is going to be the same for a lot of us, and that's the memory card. Whenever you switch systems, lenses is always an issue, but then media. Sony uses their own CF Express Type A for their cameras. They're pretty much the only guys who use this format. Everybody else has gone to the CF Express Type B. I have a bunch of those, and they're definitely cheaper than the CF Express Type A. And as far as capacity and size, yeah, Sony's capacity is not in the same ballpark. But you need media, you're gonna have to get it. The great thing though is that they record some of these codecs to SD cards. So if you have SD cards, you're good there still. We're gonna have to sell our CF Express cards to finance that. It's just one of those things. To sum this up, the FX30 is a great camera, period. It's a great cinema camera. It's on Sony Cinema lineup, and even though it's an APS-C sensor, I don't think it's going to be an issue there. Some of the other positives to think about: dual base ISO, multiple log formats. It has dust and moisture protection, active image stabilization. What am I missing? Focus breathing compensation. And there are a couple of the things that I'll flash on the screen here, because the presentation on Sony's site put out a lot of information that, when you really look at this camera, it grabs your attention. So how many of you are thinking about getting the Sony FX30? How many of you are planning on adding it to your arsenal or using it to replace your Nikon Z6II? Oh, also, how many of you actually pre-ordered this thing? I haven't pre-ordered it, but I want to get one. In the back of my mind, I'm still holding out hope that Nikon will introduce something before this camera goes on sale, which will allow me to keep my Nikon gear. But I'm telling you, it's a compelling camera, and I'm really on the fence right now of making a switch. If Nikon shows up with nothing and I find it in a store someplace, yeah, I think I'll be making the move. All right, so I'm gonna wrap the video here. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.